Hello, my friends. We are live with perhaps the last first sip of the year, my friend. I don't know if we're going to do one for the divisional championship next weekend. Maybe. Never say never.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's not likely, just based on how close we came to not even doing this one.
Sure.
A combination of later appointments, renovations, hangovers, all the different things that came into. I will tell you what, if this was scheduled at 11 o'clock, I don't know. I don't know if it would have happened.
Nah, true story. But we are here. We're here. We are Draft for Upside. This is First Sip. I am, of course, Johnny Danger. With me, Chris Emmerich, on behalf of FantasyFootballBlueprint.com. Still some good articles over there. Still some good stuff. Chris is putting out his DFS esports material over there. Mark has got his NHL material over there. Lou and the gang are pumping out baseball material already. So we got a lot going on with Adam and I doing some golf as well. So it's not over for FantasyFootballBlueprint.com. Even though it does say football, we are covering all the sports. So don't forget to go check us out over there. But for now, we're going to get into the divisional games going on right now. We have the first game starting at about 4:25. And I'm missing my spot. Where did you got the odds on you? I apparently closed that tab. I'm sorry. I think it's a 7-point spread in favor of the Packers.
You know what? I should get it up.
Yeah, this is great radio. We're super prepared.
I have my ownership projections up, but I don't. That's all I have.
I have that too, but somehow my spreads got closed. All right, here we are. 45.5 over under, and 7-point favorites are the Packers at home. Then after that, we will have Baltimore heading to Buffalo, 49.5. That's come down a little bit, I think, right? And 2.5-point favorites are the Bills for the late game tonight. So let's start with those two. Any change of thoughts since we were talking about this? Was it Wednesday night, Tuesday night? I don't know. When did we talk last?
Yeah, something like that. I agree.
Yeah,
it was in that range. It was sometime earlier the week. No, I mean, so like just taking a glance here, I don't think we necessarily have to break game by game down. I'd rather just go by positions and ownership and kind of
sure. Yeah.
When you're looking at the quarterback position, it was kind of like what we thought. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Commanding the highest ownership, at least on the 2-game slate. They don't really have. Why is this like this? Why are you the way that you are?
Yeah, I've got Allen, I've got Jackson, then I've got Aaron Rodgers, and then those are the top ones. And then as you go a little further down, all grouped together are Mayfield, Breeze, and Brady.
Yeah, I mean, look, I like the idea of going Mahomes. I'm basically seeing that Aaron Rodgers is going to be lower owned than even probably Baker Mayfield, or in that range, and I really like that play still. I think there's a tremendous amount of leverage that you can get on a lower owned Aaron Rodgers. And I like Baker Mayfield too. I think that if he's going to be lower owned on the 4-game slate, that's a place that I want to go to as well with some of my builds, because if you go with him, you put together a really nice cheap lineup where you have a cheap quarterback, you're saving the money there. You can put together a Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce kind of run back stack with maybe even like Jarvis Landry. If this game becomes a shootout, which I think that I've heard some chatter that Cleveland would be in their right in the right strategy to come out firing. This Chiefs team hasn't played very much in the last couple of weeks, and they might be a little bit flat. They didn't look as good towards the end of the year. So I think that Baker Mayfield and Aaron Rodgers are going to be two guys that I'm going to have a considerable amount of ownership over the field. Certainly, I think Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Patrick Mahomes are the 3 best options. But, Mahomes is super expensive, and we've seen it time and time again. This team really plays to their competition in the sense that, if Baker Mayfield can't put up points for Cleveland, then Kansas City is not going to feel like they need to go out there and run up the score. That's just not the way that they've played at all this year. That offense kicks into high gear when the other team gets in front of them in most cases.
Yeah, I like Mayfield a lot. Not enough to have him be my highest owned quarterback, but I definitely am over the field. I'm looking at about 24 lineups I've built so far, and I have got 6 of him. So, I'm over 10%, and I'll probably swap that to just a touch more as I kind of get off my Tom Brady shares. I'm a little over on Tom Brady. So I'm looking at it now and thinking I should come down on that.
Yeah, I guess the concern I have with that game, and I think it's reflected in Breeze, is that I just feel like that's going to be the lowest scoring game. And I know that that's not where the points are, and I could be completely wrong on that. I don't pretend to be right often. I just want to embrace being wrong, so I'll probably have some of that. But yeah, I mean, that's just one of those situations. Let's see. So it's supposed to like rain or snow in Buffalo as well. Is that correct? Is this rain or is this snow? Like, I mean, it looks like it's warm enough that it's probably not rain. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about it. I did a little quick search of some weather. I'm not overly concerned in any of these games, really, weather-wise, particularly. I've kind of noticed I'm off on the Ravens, too. So I had a lot of them when I first started this week and thinking this would be a nice big blowout game. Kind of come down on that.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a passing snow shower. It's just a flurry. I mean, an important thing to note, Donald Trump has been impeached more times than Lamar Jackson has played in snow. So, I mean, I don't know. That's a stat.
Good to know. I will tell you that my Bills defense, I'm about 80% Bills D. I just think that they have the highest upside for salary. I like them a lot. And I've got a little bit of Rams D too. Not that I think the Rams are going to win. It's just such a saving spot that they put up 6 points, a couple of sacks, maybe a turnover, and they pay off.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing that I'm looking at here is Mark Ingram is a healthy scratch, so I think that's going to be more work for J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. I mean, they've been primarily the only backs that they've been using anyway, but it just adds a little more safety to it. I've seen the two most bet props for these first two games are an anytime touchdown for J.K. Dobbins and first touchdown for Devontae Adams. Put it in perspective, Devontae Adams, I think, scored like 18 touchdowns this year, which has always been his MO, but sucks. The 1 year that I was super high on him in season long was 2 years ago when he was injured, didn't get all those. But if you remember 2 years ago, that's what he did. So I'm really interested to see what his ownership is as I click onto that tab. But
I was talking a couple of prop bets with a friend this morning, Chris, and one of the ones he was excited about was I don't know where it's at now because I don't do the prop bets, but Patrick Mahomes' rush prop was at like 16.5 yards.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a pretty strong one too. Absolutely.
Yeah, even if it goes up to like 18 or so, I think he's going to have to scramble a little bit. The Browns do get in the face of the quarterbacks. Clyde Edwards-Hilaire's injured. He's probably going to play, but he's not 100% himself. The other running backs are really no threat. So I think Mahomes is going to have to run a little bit. But when we were talking about it, apparently I was listening on the radio and the guy was talking about the same kind of things with these prop bets on quarterbacks. He said, sometimes you see these things like Aaron Rodgers, 10 yards. He said the problem is he might get 12 yards, but at the end of the game, he might kneel 3 times in a row for -4 yards and wipe that off for you. So he said, be careful those prop bets on the low totals for the quarterbacks.
Yeah, I mean, that's always a concern. But I mean, still, I feel like that there's a good enough pass rush for Cleveland that it's going to force, some of those rushing yards out of Patrick Mahomes. He's just going to feel inclined to do it. If I had money in my betting account right now, I would do it. But unfortunately, Coinbase takes a couple days to transfer. And, I don't have a good enough reputation for local Bitcoin. Of course, I just signed up. How am I going to have a good reputation? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. I tell you what, looking at this ownership list that I've got pulled up here, it's not really a surprise. I mean, Cam Akers pushing almost 40% ownership on the 4-game slate. I'm probably going to be over on that. Probably well over. I'm having a hard time not putting him in the lineup just because of his pricing. I've got obviously some contrarian other builds that he's not there, but of 24 lineups, I think I've got him in 18 to 19 right now. It's just, even in a losing script, Cam Akers is their weapon, especially with Cooper Kupp a little dinged up. A very, very good pass defense by Green Bay and the 30th or 31st team in DVOA rush defense. So, I mean, Akers is going to be involved no matter what. I feel just opposite of how I felt Taylor last week. Taylor, I was almost a total fade on Taylor for his price. But this week, I'm like doubling down on Akers.
Yeah, I think the important thing is when you're building the lineups that have Akers, I think that those lineups A lot of times you're going to want to go with some of your more contrarian other builds just to kind of round out your ownership. And then when you have a lineup where you're fading Akers, because look, he could get hurt. I mean, and if he gets hurt at 70% ownership on the 2-game slate, 40% ownership on the 4-game slate, I mean, you're in a really good spot. I mean, the thing, you can just get a concussion. It could be just like Brandon Cooks does in every big game where, he just gets laid out in the beginning of the game, the Super Bowl, playoffs, whenever you're rostering him, it happens. And that could happen. But what I would do is just play a little bit of a safer lineup around that. He's cheap enough that you can put him in those contrarian ones and get the nice spots like a Devontae Adams when we get there. But yeah, I mean, I'm going to have a lot of him. I think Devin Singletary's in a good spot too. I'm not as crazy, but I mean, at 4,500, you just can't go wrong. And J.K. Dobbins at 6,000 is the one that I'm toying with the most, and I have a hard time paying that price, knowing that he's going to get a touchdown, but knowing that he's going to split pretty much the carries. I would assume with Gus Edwards.
So a couple of questions here. If we see some game time decisions, let's say Hilaire either is going to be on a snap count or doesn't play, does that bump up a Darwin Thompson? Or are you just not too interested in their running game?
Yeah, I think it does. I think it absolutely bumps it up.
Yeah, I think Darwin's my target if that happens. And then on the other end, at 3% owned, I kind of like playing Jamal Williams. I mean, I think even if Jones has a really good game, it's still the best way to attack the Rams is on the ground. If they get behind for any reason, they'll get Williams a little bit more involved. If they get a big lead, they'll get Williams a little bit more involved. I really feel like his median is going to be around 8 or 9 points, and a pretty solid floor for the price that he's at, with the ability to sometimes get those like 2 random touchdowns in games where just nobody's looking at him. So I think Jamal Williams is going to find his way into a few of my lineups as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't, when it comes to running backs, you can just kind of, I just want to spread it out. I don't have any hot takes on this. When you have these smaller slates, that's just typically there's going to be one of those running backs that's just going to blow up and kind of ruin it. And then it's usually a guy that you didn't see coming. So I think Jamal Williams kind of fits that bill.
Are you buying into the cornerback nemesis of Mike Evans and how he's been shut down in every matchup of their career?
Yeah, I think that's definitely something that you'd have to consider. But the nice thing is that you have Chris Godwin on the other side. You've got Antonio Brown. You have a lot of other options that you can go to in that offense, and that kind of makes it interesting. Let's see, where's the ownership line on those guys? I mean, he's down there. I mean, 20%, somewhere in that range. I don't know, I'm just looking at these right here. If Stephon Diggs is going to be the 4th or 5th highest owned wide receiver, I definitely want to load up on him.
Mm-hmm. I've got Godwin at 15. I've got Evans and Brown both at 10.
Yeah, I mean, Evans at 10%, absolutely.
I'm looking at Diggs at 36. So,
the other guy that's really inexpensive and I don't think is drawing a ton of ownership right now and may not, because I think part of it is dependent on Cooper Kupp's availability, would be Josh Reynolds. I think he's a good play at 3,200 with Kupp in the lineup, and he just becomes a absolutely great play with Kupp out of the lineup. So
I've got a lot of Akers Reynolds combination.
Yeah, I mean, it's cheap, and then you can load up on the Chiefs then if that's what you think, or some of these more expensive guys in some of the other games. Again, it's just this New Orleans Tampa Bay game. I can see this being a super shootout, but I can see it being just a complete dud in defensive game as well. These teams have played each other twice. They're very familiar with each other. I just don't think it's going to get wild and crazy like it's.
Yeah, I was talking to my buddy that we're running some contests. I'm helping build up his knowledge of DFS. Why he's talking to me, who knows? But we were going over that. He's really high on the Tampa Bay New Orleans game, and I said, yeah, I mean, I can see it. There's so much talent on both sides of the ball. You could see an absolute blow up. I said, but also these could possibly be the best 2 defenses on the board, and it could be an absolute just nothing burger of a fantasy day. So it's an interesting game. I'm still trying to dig into it since we have till tomorrow. I'm still kind of going in there. We do have a comment in here, friend of the show, Mark Andrada. Hey guys, when you get to it, rank them: Kamara, Hill, Kelsey, Adams. For me, I'm going to go probably Kamara is my favorite play of that group, then Kelsey, then Adams, then Hill. I have a hard time. I mean, maybe you think better, but it always seems to me that Kelsey and Hill, while sometimes blow up together, it's usually one or the other that gets the big score. So I'm trying not to play them both together. Adams doesn't really seem to his ownership isn't really down. I mean, he's at 30%, so not really. I don't know. I mean, Kelsey's going to be massively owned, of course, but I think it's just Cleveland can't cover a regular tight end, let alone a Kelsey.
Yeah, no, I mean, I like it. I like playing both of them together. Obviously, that's not the full exposure that I would have, but I'm going to have a couple lineups with them together. Just if you think that game's going to be a super shootout, which I think it can be, if you're not playing them, you're basically banking on the fact that that they're going to come out flat. But I think it's more, I think even if they did, I think it's a best case scenario. Second. You
talking about Kansas City coming out flat?
Yeah.
I mean, they do that a lot. They come out of a lot of games flat, especially primetime big games. They come out flat.
Well, and then as we talked about earlier in the week, one of the big things that what you would then jump to is that if they came out flat, that means Cleveland gets a huge score, and Cleveland has just allowed teams back into games. And you don't have to go that far back. Just simply last year when the Texans had what was looked like an insurmountable lead, and then Kansas City came back. And so, Cleveland has been the king of allowing those type of situations to happen. And, it won you a good bit of money last
weekend. Yeah, with Pittsburgh. I do have one lineup that is Chubb, Hunt, Hill, and Kelsey.
Nice.
And that's the hope, the hope that Chubb and Hunt just tear it up and get an early lead, and then they have to just bomb it to Hill and Kelsey the rest of the game. How about that revenge narrative? Hunt came out on Twitter and talked a bunch of crap, and he wants that big one.
Yeah, and I was going to bring that up. He is the guy that seems like he would be spiteful. So I think he's good. Yeah, I think you can bet on him for a touchdown.
Let me see if I can find that tweet. That tweet I shared. Here it is. I got it. Let me pull it up here. I think I can. I got to make sure nothing else pops up when you share your screen. That's very important to check your other tabs and things before you share screens, folks. Just want you to know that. Here we go. This was pretty funny. Can you see that, Chris?
Yep.
Bring on the Chiefs. This is personal for me, Kareem Hunt. Then Andy Reid replies, "You think I wanted to cut you? Get real. When we drafted you, they said, let's get Kareem Hunt. I thought you were Donut. Never been so excited. You broke my heart twice."
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Good stuff there.
I didn't see that. I saw the Kareem Hunt tweet. I didn't.
Good old Andy Reid.
Absolutely. Got a Twitter.
Yeah, man. I like that. That's good. Yeah, I like Hunt a lot there. And then the other narrative we haven't talked about yet is I believe I was told last night that Gronk needs one more touchdown to either tie or break the record for postseason tight end touchdowns or postseason touchdowns total. I can't remember what it couldn't be total. But
I'm ready for him to break my heart yet again this week.
Yeah, another big zero burger for you.
Oh, yeah. Can't wait.
I mean, it's an interesting game. The Saints, how are the Saints against tight ends? I haven't really broke that down because I'm just not targeting Gronk. So I haven't even looked at it.
Yeah, I mean, look, I haven't even really considered those type of things. When you're looking at a short slate, I'm just trying to, mix my exposures and get advantages. And I'm not really worried about how teams fare against it because, there's only so many options. So it's just about what fits, what correlates, and how I think the games are gonna go.
Yeah, I'm just looking through my lineups here, man. I'm pretty heavily invested in Jared Allen, or Josh Allen, not Jared Allen. Josh Allen, pretty heavily favored in Josh Allen. I've got way too much Cam Akers, but I don't know if that's true or not. I'm pretty favorable to Hunt as well here. Antonio Brown is by far my number one owned wide receiver across the board. I mixed him in everywhere. And then when pairing up with Allen, was that?
I said that's got to feel bad for you.
I know, I hate it. It makes me angry, but he won me some money last week. So what can I say? Actually, Jack Doyle. Let's be real. Jack Doyle won me money
It
last
was
week.
Jack Doyle. Yeah, no, it was totally Jack Doyle for you.
So, anyways, and then to pair with Allen, basically what I've been doing is with the exception of maybe one contrarian lineup, I've got Allen, Diggs, Beasley, Allen, Diggs, Brown, Allen, Diggs, Davis, and just basically kind of mirroring the same lineup and just moving that second wide receiver piece around.
Yeah, I like it. I think that's what you got to do. Again, there's only so many combinations. By doing that, you do get these lineups. And the way that I like to build it is build like piece by piece, and then hopefully by doing that you end up with some ownerships that are just going to be different. Again, that big hit that I had was because I didn't have George Kittle and Michael Thomas, who seemed like the biggest smash plays in that particular lineup. They both get hurt early. And at 40-50% ownership on a short slate, that kills a ton of lineups.
Certainly does. All right, man. I think for the most part, I'm kind of. How do you feel between like Landry and Higgins? I'm seeing a ton of Higgins love. I know it's just probably because he's at 4,100 and the value is there. But if you go through some of these top web pages and click through and just kind of see where it's at, he just keeps popping up, and I just can't seem to pull the trigger on Higgins. I don't know why. It's just a gut feeling maybe. But where are you at with Higgins?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I would rather go Landry, but I mean, if his ownership is going to be that much different, and it looks like it is, I think you can play Higgins. I mean, people might be recommending it, but I have Landry at double the ownership. So
sure. And then where do you land on the Robinson versus Hardman with no Sammy Watkins?
Probably Robinson. Looks like he's going to be lower owned too.
Yeah, I like Robinson too. Hardman's that guy that catches that 70-yard bomb and gets you off to that big lead, but Robinson's the guy that's going to get 6, 7, 8 targets in the absence of Sammy.
Yeah, absolutely.
So. All right, man. I don't really have a whole lot, so why don't you give me some game predictions? Let's start right here. LA Rams heading to Green Bay Packers, 45.5 over under.
I'm going to go over. I mean, that's what I'm. That's where I'm staking my flag is on that game. That game being a shootout. Or at least Green Bay coming out and putting up a ton of points.
I dig it. All right, and that's the case. Then who's your outside of the top three there? Is it Tunyon? Are you a fan of Tunyon? Are you a fan of MVS? Where are you going? Where's your pivots?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to load up on all of them. I'm going to go Adams. I think Aaron Jones is going to be underowned. I think that's a place
very underowned.
So if they get out to a big lead and LA can't compete. They've been bad on the road. They've given up massive points in certain games. You're just hoping that this is one of those. So
traveling from fair weather to very cold. Packers by 7. Are you taking the over?
Yes.
All right. I like it. All right, let's move on to the next game. I'm with you. I'm going the over, and I'm going the Green Bay cover. Baltimore Ravens heading to the Bills. We got 49.5. As I've gone further along in my morning, I've kind of come on the underside of that. I'm probably going to eat those words. But
yeah, no, I'm going to take the over.
And 2.5 point favorites are the Bills. I do like the Bills to win by at least a field goal.
Yeah, I'll go with you on that. I don't think that's the consensus, but I'm good with it.
No, I don't think it's the consensus, but I like it. Cleveland Browns, 57 with the Chiefs. It certainly has a possibility to go over that as long as both teams don't come out completely flat.
I think it's an over. I mean, I think that's an over smash.
9.5 in favor of the Chiefs.
No, I'm gonna. I think the Chiefs win, but I think it's gonna be closer than that.
I agree with you. I actually put a $5 bet on the Browns plus 10. So nice. I like that. Tampa Bay 52 with the Saints. I'm an under.
Yeah, I'm taking the under there.
3.5 or 3 points are the Saints. Man, that's really close. I like the Saints to win, but I like it to be close. So I guess I'll take the Saints -3 because I like them to win.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
We're in ingredients. This is dangerous. Not good. Not usually good. All right, buddy. Well, I don't have much else to talk about then. I'm going to turn my phone off so I don't tinker anymore. I'm done. I didn't tinker while we were on. I told you at 1 o'clock I was done. What I really should do, honestly, Chris, what I should do is I should uninstall the DraftKings app from my phone until tomorrow night.
There you go.
Right? Just take it off. Just take it offline. I'll just let the games play out how they do today. Maybe I'll open it tomorrow in case I need to do some late swaps of the 4-game slate. And
just go into complete dark mode.
Just turn it off. Just turn it off. I'll just rely on direct tweets from you to me to tell me what's going on.
Sounds good. I'll keep you updated. Play by play. Right. We've got a ton of these lineups to build, so I'm gonna let you go here.
I love it, man. All right, well, we our draft for Upside. This was First Sip. You catch our regular show usually Tuesday, Wednesday night. It's a little weird with the transition between the seasons. You'll see Chris and I jump on here every now and then to talk esports. You've got the best pucking podcast starting with Lou and Mark, I believe, this coming Thursday for hockey. We've got Chappie talking sports. We got Lou talking sports. We got all kinds of things going on here. And please go check out fantasyfootballblueprint.com. All of our articles and breakdowns are still over there. And if you're watching on the iLogic Media Network that just launched, we appreciate you. And there's a lot more to come on that as well. We'll catch you guys after the weekend. Good luck with your lineups.